phones. Somebody's shuffling about.
Yeah.
Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com. Oh, she's a rare Monday night podcast. No game tonight. Normally we do Sundays, but Struds and Brownie were both on the road this weekend, so we pushed to Monday night. And I think it's going to be a good one tonight. Got a fun show in store for you. You know it from the title. Oilers are 500 and Monday Mayhem. We're going to take it off the rails in the second segment tonight, but we will talk a little Edmonton Oilers to get us rolling. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. Presented by our proud title sponsor, Play Alberta, the official gaming partner of all the major Alberta teams. Whoever you cheer for, Play Alberta is cheering you on. Bet on your favorites, get in on odds boosts, and make game time more interesting. Deposit today. Get a $50 free bet with that code GYB11. Once again, the code is GYB11. Gets you that $50 free bet. Visit playalberta.ca. I'm coming at you from our long shot studio here in Sherwood Park. Or check that, our Adrenaline Diesel studio. Man, last year, Ryan. They've got an online store for all your diesel truck parts needs. Check out adrenalinediesel.ca. That's what I get for going off script, guys. Mucking up the sponsors, screwing up the show. Already off the rails. Brownie, good to see your face. Struds, I feel like all we ever see anymore is that goofy smirk of his on the boat, that picture.
Yeah, we need to get a new picture. Like, that picture is not doing anyone any favors. Like, that is like...
I sent Zuby like 12 topless pictures. He hasn't used any of them yet. I'm real disappointed.
Yeah. Hold your breath on that one.
So good to be back Brownie, on camera again. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, nice to have you, buddy. You missed a doozy the other night, buddy. Like, we could have used you. Struds could have used you. Like, we had a night from Jason Strudwick the other night, Zuby, that or Brownie, that was like, I don't know if it was Struds. How would you describe it? Like, midlife crisis / lashing out at your loved ones here on the show / Like, there was a lot going on for you last show, Struds. A lot.
You know what? I'll say this because I had some people comment on it, and I'd say that I was 4 games deep. I probably filled up about 40 water bottles over 4 games, and I was a little bit on tilt. I'm not gonna lie. I was coming in there, and I knew the Oilers had won, so I was a little bit on tilt and let it fly. So I'll try to be calmer tonight, Brownie. With Brownie here, he seems to calm. He's like he puts the goat in the stable, the good racehorse. Brownie's my goat. Not in the greatest ever, though. Just as, like, literally a goat.
I'm sorry I missed it, Struds. I would have calmed you down, buddy. I would have told some nice stories about you, made you feel good about yourself. You just let me know. If you need a pat in the back, I'm here for you.
Need it.
Brownie, all you need to know is he went from self-loathing at one point to another point referring to himself as Quadzilla. His quads as Quadzilla. Like that, we ran the gamut, bud. It was all over the map. Quadzilla.
Emotional roller coaster.
What do you say about your hair? It's like I strap it on sideways or something. You're talking about your hair. You're talking about it was an emotional roller coaster. Hey, just a couple of the comments, by the way, before we get to talk. So on YouTube, that people can actually comment right on the YouTube file there. So here's a few of them. Netlock20 said, Struds, you're a beep beauty. I've never agreed more with a guy than I do with you. To hell with the guys that disagree with ya. They're wrong. LOL, love ya, brother, from Northern Alberta. That from Netlock20. Mike Boston 421 said, it's dark, strutty night. Minute Muncher said, I don't usually comment, but here's a black heart for my new favorite character, Goth Struts. You really made it, Brandon. Whole new legion of fans from the dark web.
Wow, I'm sad I missed it. Are you able to like get these podcasts anywhere? Like, would I be able to see this thing?
Brownie, have you never consumed a second of this podcast outside of being on it? Are you serious?
No, am I supposed to? I've never watched
meeting
that,
coming
Struds. He's not all in. He's not all in. Like
I'm all in. I lay it
out.
I give everything I have for every episode. I just got nothing left in me to be able to watch us again. It's hard enough watching us the first time.
Oh, good stuff. Okay, so just to set up the show a little bit here, gents, we will talk some Oilers here in the first segment. They practiced today. We'll bat a few things around, kind of just do a check-in on where the team is at. We're taking it right off the rails in the second segment. Apologies in advance to Martin Motorsports or Horizon Ag and Turf, whichever one is sponsoring it. There probably will be little Oiler value in that segment, but it's a Monday and it's a non-game day, and I kind of don't care. So it'll get a little goofy in the second segment. We'll have Brownie Points. We'll have Strudy's World. We will have Take a Lap, Ask Us Anything. We'll get you involved on the stream. We're super pumped that you are here and joining us on this Remembrance Day, a day where we give thanks to those who made the ultimate sacrifice for all of us. So hope you all had a nice Remembrance Day and an opportunity to, take a couple of minutes to reflect. With that said, guys, let's talk some Oilers and let's get to our breakdown. Brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. Ram trucks continue to deliver with power, style, and innovation. 2025 Ram 1500 features a bold new powertrain, redesigned exterior, state-of-the-art technology. Check out the most awarded light-duty truck ever. See your Ram dealer today. Fantastic looking set of wheels. All right, gentlemen, 15 games in the books, 5th in the Pacific, 500. They're 2-5-1 at home, which is a bit of a weird one. I would submit to you, Struds, if fans feel like the Oilers are turning the corner, and maybe they are, it was a big win the other night, and they won big. You got to get the Islanders game. You got to get the Predators game. You got to sweep the next 2 games at home to truly be turning the corner the way the Oilers hope they are. Struds, you got to put a streak together. The Preds are in last place, for goodness sakes.
Well, first off, good luck to Oilers fans. Watching Islanders play hockey is very painful. Like it is. I do not like that team. I don't like that. Sorry, I should not the franchise. I've never liked the way they built. Like it's just they're a really tough team. Now, not tough team to play against, just a tough team to watch play hockey. It's absolutely horrendous.
Good. Awesome. So
you
can take tomorrow night off if you want.
Just to be clear. So, but you're right. I mean, they had a really tough start last year. They haven't had a great start this year. I think I think they're more often than not, they're starting to play better. Like that was a good game Saturday night. Now keep in mind they had no Brock Besser in there. And obviously they just traded away Daniel Sprong, which, we all know that's a big loss. But, I think when you're putting it all together, I think that it is a bit of a couple games here. They have to kind of just get them banked in there and continue what they've kind of done. Like lately, it's been better, Brownie. It has been better, but not solid better all the time, but better.
Yeah, they're not playing as well as they're capable of playing, I don't think. Even the Vancouver game, they were the better team, but it wasn't. I mean, that was some horrific goaltending in the third period by Lankiner.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 of those goals were embarrassing. And it's funny that they sent down the other goalie the next day and kept him. I do believe there are signs their power play looked better in the game. Hyman has started to score. The 2 stars had 5 points last game. Their third and fourth lines were combined +5. So there was a lot of positives in the game. I don't think they're anywhere near where they need to be or want to be, but they're better. They were better in Vancouver than they were 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So that's a positive. So the Islanders are missing some big players. They've got some injuries that the Oilers should take advantage of. The Nashville Predators, frankly, suck right now. They are so underachieving. So yeah, the Oilers are playing against 2 teams that they should beat on home ice. And if they play well or what they're capable of, they should come away with 2 victories. So, yeah, I don't think these are must wins, but I certainly think that the Oilers group would like to get on a roll and start feeling good about themselves on a daily basis and not win one, lose one.
Where are we seeing from Connor McDavid here, guys? So far this season, he's on points. He's on pace for about 85 points, which I think we all know that's not going to maintain. He's got 13 in 12 games. He's got 4 goals. We all know the milestone that he's chasing here, and he's going to get to it pretty darn soon. 5 points off of 1,000. Maybe even this week we see it. Assuming that he's been healthy most of the season here, which we assume he was coming out of training camp, outside of the injury where he missed a few games. Like, Brownie, what are you seeing in McDavid? And, do you feel like he's close to kind of pushing through it and getting back to more regular production that's expected and people are used to from him?
I would think so. He's like the rest of the Oilers, underachieving. They're not playing as good as they're capable of playing. I've talked about it a few times on this, that skilled players, when the power play isn't working, it bleeds into their 5-on-5 game. And Leon Draisaitl actually talked about it a couple games ago. And the Oilers power play has struggled, and it has bled into their 5-on-5 game. They have not been near as dominant. We haven't seen Connor dominate like he's capable. And I think the power plays, the fact they're not getting them and getting the touches, and then when they've had power plays, they have been very unremarkable. I think it gets frustrating for the players. So I think Connor McDavid is like just about every other player on this team, has not played to his potential. I think a 3-point night and a 7-2 victory leads to the next game where all of a sudden you beat an Islander team that you should beat, and then you got a Nashville team that you beat for fun most nights. This could be a big night for Connor McDavid, and at week's end you could be saying, oh, okay, well, Connor's back where he wants to be. He's now 5th in league scoring or 7th in league scoring, and things are going in the right direction. So I do believe Connor is going to turn the corner, but he has not had a Connor-like start to the season. He has been pedestrian by his standards.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there, Brownie. And just to follow it up, I think the one challenge that the coaching staff's dealing with is trying to get these guys to emotionally connect to games. With all due respect to Islanders, playing the Islanders on a Tuesday night in November, it's a long ways away from Game 7. And so I know, they're professional athletes, they get paid. I get it, but they are humans. And I think, I honestly think, let's just go through the list. I'll say McDavid, Leon, Hyman, Nuge, Bouchard, Ekholm, Stu Skinner, like all these guys have another level, right? To what they're having. And I'm not including the new guys because we don't really know what their level is. Because we haven't been watching them for 5 or 6 years in some cases, or longer than that, I guess, 9 years in some cases. So I'm not excusing them, Brownie, but I think it's going to take them a while. I think they'll work their intensity level up to where it needs to be.
I think you're right. I think that the loss of Game 7 has affected the Oilers deeper than you would have thought. I think on the Oilers group, the players that have been, that we know, as you said, that we've seen, Kulak's the only player that has played to his potential this year. He's probably exceeded it a little bit. I don't think another player on the team, and not one player on their team, has hit their potential yet. I mean, and that to me bodes well. They're a 500 team with underachieving on the ice, so they've got another gear. I think it's going to come. And that's why I go, and I know that Zuby said that I've taken a beating on my statement at the beginning of the year. The beginning of the season doesn't matter. And I still agree with it. It doesn't. I still believe this Oiler team is a Stanley Cup contending team. They could lose the next 3 games. Not going to change my mind. They will find the game at the right time. And as Strud says, I don't believe they're emotionally engaged in these games yet. But when you look at the standings, you start to see where you are. I think they will start to engage themselves a little bit more, I think, like they did in Vancouver the other night.
So last season they came out of their slumber and they woke up in a big way. Now it took a coach getting fired and their attention. I mean, they got rattled by that for sure. But then they were one of the best teams in the league basically the rest of the way. They were fantastic. I would submit to you, Struds, I don't believe this team is capable of that same thing. Not as it currently is constructed and not as it currently exists. I think they can be a lot better than they are right now. I don't think that they're structured right now to be one of the best teams in the league over a course of months. I think they're missing some pieces that are required for that, and I'm not sure their high end is going to be the same. Now, the trade deadline, they'll probably address some of that and it'll change. But, how significant a turnaround do you think could be expected by Oiler fans if and when this actually turns?
That's probably a fair point. So you're talking personnel-wise, they're not as good as last year. I think on the back end, that's no Darnay and no CC and no Broberg. That does, the 3 guys that are there currently aren't as good as those 3 guys. I think that's, and don't even look up front. But what I think there's understanding of how to defend And I think that that's where they have to kind of get back to the idea of we're going to be defending hard and be, the penalty kill and defending. Anyone can do that if you're willing to do it, right? And committed to do it. I'm not suggesting the guys don't want to do it. It's just it's hard to emotionally commit to it because it's a really hard way of playing. And then because they're going to score goals. And then find their way through this power play. Like it did look better last game for sure, Brownie. Like it looked more dangerous. It looked like they were skating downhill, whereas most here looks like they're actually skating uphill to try to get or the offensive zone is on a hill and they're trying to go uphill. So I think that you're right, Rishaug, and maybe they can't go the same run, but I think they're capable of doing a lot more than they are now. But I think that run really slowed them down, guys.
Yeah, I agree, Rishaug. They're not as good a team, but they will address the defensive issues later in the season. They'll eventually get Evander Kane back, which will move other players up and down the lineup. That'll be a difference. That'll give them the edge. The one thing that Struds said there is they're not emotionally engaged. And Evander Kane forces you to be emotionally engaged in a hockey game, whether you want to be or not. So, yeah, I don't see them going on a 16-0 run, but maybe an 11-5 run, something like that. I think that's what they're more so this year made. I think they'll get to the deadline and they'll address some issues. I think they will be a much better team in the second half of the season than they will be in the first half of the season. And I think if you're a hockey player or a hockey fan, that's the kind of team you want.
A couple good comments here from Paulie, always a good contributor. Recognize the human element. Core played their way back from a horrendous start and 0-3 in the final, only to lose by a hair. There's some damage there for sure that takes longer than we would like. Continues on, says it's like being left at the altar on wedding day after you find the girl of your dreams. No question, gut punch. I think made more difficult by the fact that just as you have a summer to try and put it behind you, and you have a summer to try and get through it, get refocused, get to camp, enough about last year, let's get talking about this year. And then, boom, monstrous headlines drop with that Amazon series. And it's just in everyone's face. And they're answering questions about it. And their friends are all seeing it for the first time. Right as the season was about to get started, they were gutted for the world to see the behind the scenes, how bad that was behind the scenes and how hard it was on them. The whole thing had a weight to it. And definitely they're struggling to peel themselves out from underneath that weight for sure. On your list, Struds, of guys that you really feel need to be significantly better, who would kind of be higher up on that list? I'm going to start a little bit. Now, I'm not going to be too hard on him because I know his overall game has been decent and that's what expected. But I look at a guy sorry, Strudy, but Henrique's got a goal and an assist in 15 games here, right? He's playing 14 minutes. I don't expect a ton more offense from him, but I think if he can start chipping in a little bit more regularly like he usually does, I think that's going to help things along for sure. Like I said, I don't want to be too hard on him because his overall game has been good. But again, underachieving complementary players that aren't putting the offense forward.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, it's funny. I kind of put him and the Nuge in the same place. Both really smart players, but yeah, you need them to offensively contribute. They got to find a way. Thinking back the last number of games, and Brown, you have probably a better feeling for scoring than I do, which is debatable, I guess. But, other than him hitting that crossbar, I don't remember him having a lot of chances the last 4 to 5 games. And I think that would worry me a little bit when I watch him. Because usually the chances, if you're getting chances, you're going to probably get a goal or two. But, the one, for what game was that we went off the crossbar? And back
Are you talking Henrique or Nuge?
Nuge.
Henrique. No, I'm talking Henrique. Well, I can talk
Henrique
too.
I with Nuge.
But both, yeah. I think either of them, I guess that's what I mean. It's actually very similar conversation. Smart players, neither one have had a lot of offensive chances, Brownie. I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I missing something there?
No, I think you're right, because you look at when Hyman went 10 in a row without a goal, we kept talking about, well, he's getting chances. Yeah. He's getting 3 or 4 grade A's. He's getting breakaways. He's getting wide open shots. He's missing open nets. So we all said it's going to come. And he talked about it. When you get chances, I agree with you with Henrique and Nugent Hopkins. They're not getting the looks. But if the player that I would throw in, I'd throw Bouchard in there. I don't think Bouchard looks anywhere as confident as a player as we saw in the playoffs last year. Bouchard is an incredibly gifted offensive defenseman who I think took a step up into elite defense the way he played in the playoffs. not only was he great offensively, he wasn't making mistakes. He was confident with the puck. He was confident without the puck. Guys weren't beating him. And so far this year, he doesn't look confident with the puck as of yet. His shots are getting blocked. And then the big mistakes defensively that we saw get pushed away from his game have bled back in a bit. So to me, I know that you've got Henrique, you got Nugent Hopkins. My guy is Bouchard. He's the guy that, there's been a number of games lately where he hasn't led the Oilers in ice time on the back end. In the playoffs, he was leading the Oilers in ice time every game, and sometimes by significant minutes. Like Nurse has gotten more ice time than him in some of these games. So I think Bouchard is the guy, and I think there's a couple things with him. I think there is a contract weighing on his head, on his mind, and I also do believe that the Four Nations Cup. I think the pressure is there. He wants to be part of that. Everyone's throwing his name out. Norris Trophy, playing for Team Canada. That's added pressure for a player that really was halfway through last season when he really found his game as an elite defenseman at this level.
Well, and if the offense isn't flowing, guys, I'm not sure that he's on that team. Like if he's not elite offensively by early December, I mean, can you find somebody else to come in and, maybe shore things up a little more for you defensively? Because they are going to have Cale Makar up front or, in the top pairing.
On their power play. Mm-hmm.
Drew Doughty
I
on the
agree.
power play.
Yeah, Drew Doughty. I said before, and I think it was the Olympic team we were talking about, but I said Bouchard would be on the outside looking in. So I'm not going to change my mind now, even though Bouchard had the great season last year. I think he's making great strides, but I do believe he has been slow to the start this year.
Okay, Oilers did practice today. No line changes to speak of. Not a ton of new news, as they won't change much coming off of a win. They've got the Islanders Tuesday night, the last place Nashville Predators on Thursday, and then the Toronto Maple Leafs. They head to Toronto next weekend. So 3 games that are going to be interesting. The Oilers hoping they're turning the corner. They are. You got to piece together some winning streaks, though. We'll see if they can do that. That was the breakdown brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. No game tonight, Struds, but lots of other stuff going on. So let's get to a Relentless Player of the Day, brought to you by UCAN Youth Services at Edmonton Charity. Relentless in helping you youth age 16 to 24 get out of harm's way and find employment. Visit ucan.ca to see how your donation can change lives right here in our community. Struds, what else was going on out there, and who are you tapping tonight?
Well, for the Relentless Player, I'm going to talk about a team that scored 6 goals in the first period. Dallas Stars, 6 goals. I mean, that might be enough right there. But then you look at the scorecard, Mason Marchment, a goal and 4 assists. But the Penguins give up 6 goals in one period. You give up 6 goals over a game and you're not sleeping. You give up 6 goals in a period. A period. Like, man, I don't know what's going on in Pittsburgh, but they're literally fighting for their lives right now. Just to try to get a win, Brown. That's a rough one.
It's awful. It's awful. Dallas is good. Dallas is a good hockey club, but Pittsburgh is a terrible hockey club, and we saw that when they played here. I get. Is it Dumas or Dubas? What's the guy's name that went there from
Dubas?
Dubas.
Kyle Dubas.
I mean, some of the mistakes that he's made already, like getting rid of Jake Gunsel and then bringing in Erik Karlsson in his $11 million, just horrible mistakes he's made there. And that team, I feel for Sidney Crosby. I feel for Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang. Yeah. They gave them nothing to play with. That Pittsburgh Penguin team. I mean, those 3 guys their last few years are gonna be on the outside looking into the playoffs. It's just
Ryan
terrible.
Graves. Got Ryan Graves. Like it fought for him. I'm like, I like Ryan Graves at 2 or 3 million. I think he's at 4 or 5. Like, it is incredible what they've done. He's done to that group there. Yeah. I mean, look at what they can trade away, like Lars Eller, Marcus Pettersson, maybe a D-man we could talk about another night for the Oilers, but man, it's going to be dark days for Sid the Kid.
Well, and your star goaltender's in the minors trying to find his game. That's not a good sign either.
No.
Yeah. Hey, Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremonies tonight, guys. I wasn't able to catch all the speeches. I saw a few of them. Not sure if you guys got to see any of it, but Roenick, Datsuk, Weber, Natalie Darwitz, Chrissy Wendell Pohl, Colin Campbell, David Poyle, like pretty good class this year. JR got up there and I mean, he was apologizing to everybody. He apologized to the Wirtz family for disrespecting him during a contract negotiation. He talked about standing next to Mike Keenan at a urinal the day before he was drafted in the first round. Like, he was all over the map with his speech. It was everything that you would have expected. But pretty good class this year, Brownie.
It is, and I'll talk about one of the players in my Brownie points. But yeah, it is. Is it a talented class? JR, he likes to talk. He likes the microphone. Not surprised that he stole the show. That is, there was I can't remember who it was that I played with. I think it was Leach that was with us in Chicago, and he would imitate JR up at the board. You know, enough of me talking about me. Why don't you talk about me for a while? That was the line he used to say about JR. So yeah, so that doesn't surprise me about Jeremy Roenick at all.
Pavel Datsyuk, I still think he's so underrated. I have him as one of the greatest players of all time. Like, I truly do. And he is so good, or was so good. I don't know. I don't think enough's not being said about him. Honestly, the quietest superstar in the league. And an unselfish, good defender, strip pucks from behind. Like, he was just running a drill out there. Like, to me, he's one of the best. And he'd always carried on his backhand. So, we all carried on our forehands, right? Put it in my pocket. He'd carried in on his backhand. And then as a D-man, like, what the hell is this guy doing? So when he moved, he'd go from his backhand to forehand instead of forehand to backhand. Like, and it sounds easy to do, but no one does it. At least I shouldn't say that. Very few do it from what I remember seeing.
All right. Okay, guys, that was our breakdown. I'm going to ask a question. Brownie, I don't want you to give me your answer right away. And I'm going to ask everybody on the stream as well. Both guys steaming mad at the pinnacle of their careers and the pinnacle of their conditioning. Both guys, like, super angry, drop the mitts, go toe-to-toe. Who wins? Jason Strudwick or Jarome Iginla? Don't give me your answer right this second. Just think about it. Wow. Give me your answer on the stream. We're going to dig into that a little bit in takeaways. A couple of other treats for you coming up in our next segment. It'll be worth it. Quick commercial break. Let me know what you think. Iggy or Strudy? We'll be right back.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
All right, time now for takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. The winter kickoff event is on November 16th. Coming up next weekend, the showrooms on the west and south side of Edmonton will be packed full of marked down winter gear and accessories, exclusive discounts on in-stock Ski-Doos, and it's also their one-day oil sale. Don't miss this awesome weekend event. Go check out the great quality stuff they've got down at Martin Motorsports. Big event coming up this weekend. By the way, Brownie, you missed the show where we rolled in Zuby's big glove save, right? I know you got to see it on the group chat, but we never got your opinion on it on the show fully, Brownie. So Zuby, go ahead and roll in the goal again, or the save again, bud, and let's get Rob Brown's take on it. So there you see Zuby
which color is Zuby?
Up. Yeah, he's way at the far end there. Now look, a turnover out of the corner and boom. Big glove save there. Yeah.
Wow. Like, I'm stunned because I've seen him in person. I didn't think he could actually move like that.
Yeah. Struds?
That's the
How
big
you feeling about
big
this,
pizza
Struds?
here.
Yeah, big pizza right up the middle.
That pizza's a hard one, but look at right here in the bottom right. I still can't get over old Swansonite. just standing there.
It's Schweedy, Struds. It's
Just
Schweedy.
He's
Struds, it's
Get-
David
Can you-
Schweedy is his name.
he's got breakaway
Can
speed.
you guys play it on like regular speed instead of slow motion? I want to see it like in regular speed if it looks any different.
Okay, listen, Struds, you had such a hard day the other day. Zuby and I decided, what could we do to cheer you up? Like, what could we possibly do to cheer you up and make sure you're in a better mood for today's show? So, Struds, for you and only for you today, my friend, we have with us, joining us on Got Your Back, his debut, number 18, David Schweedy. Schweeds, how you doing, buds?
How's it going, guys? Doing good.
Solid, man. Solid. So David, tell us the ways in which your life has changed since this first aired on Got Your Back, this goal.
Oh man, like it's similar to the girl that did the flashing there in the stand. Can't keep them off of me here. So I'm just getting texts left, right, and center from every guy that's ever heard my name, and like that's got to be you. No one has that last name in all of the world, probably. And but no, yeah, it's been kind of funny. But no, there's some background to it. Usually that guy gets me on the run, so I can cheat on the line, and so there's no point in coming back because he doesn't pass. And then I probably drank coffee all day. I got no water in me. It's 11:30. I'm sleeping in my head, and if I come back, I'll get a leg cramp. So I just kind of hang up there.
Oh, Schweedy. Struds, I'm just gonna open the forum to you, Struds, to interview the guy. Like, be the reporter here, bud.
You know what? I have to admit, I was probably a little bit hard on you just breaking down the play, but in a serious question, do you wear knee braces on one or both knees? Because your legs are so straight.
See, I never seen myself skate, and now I'm calling everyone up looking for lessons. This is good. It's good.
Oh, buddy. You're the ultimate sport here, buddy. Just taking it right on the chin. And by the way, people on the live stream are absolutely loving you, man. We're getting tons of great comments supporting you. You've been a great topic of discussion. What's your hockey background, Dave? What's your
zero?
Zero?
Zero.
What?
I started skating only I'm probably like 6 years, but no, I
In the fall.
no professional experience to date.
Nothing so far. Well, hey, bud, listen. Like, don't let the dream die. Stay with it. You never know where this is going to go. What do you do for a living, bud?
I'm in the cannabis industry. I sell all the weed.
Okay. All right.
Would you like to be a sponsor?
I'm open to it. I'm open to it.
Okay. Schweedy, serious question though, buddy. We all can agree we're having a good time with you, but how many times a night does Zuby overflash the leather?
Yeah.
Like that puck was coming in so
That was embarrassing.
slowly. He could have put a candle on top of that puck and had it would have blown out
though?
on the way in. And he flashed the leather so hard. So does he do that every time?
To be honest, I don't think there's that many good shots in a game for that to even happen. So
Yeah.
that's got to be maybe 2 or 3 a season.
That's why I was so excited to get it out of the way in the first period.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave, can you give us a little bit of insight into the teammate and the goaltender that Zuby is that we might not see?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think he's there every night, gives it his all. He got some new pads this season, and so he's got to be top of the league. And he's tough to beat. He probably sees 50 shots a game, and we usually win.
What's his best attribute as a goalie? Well, he's always there. There you go, number
that's
one.
the hardest thing at 11:30. Shit.
He's always there and he has nice pads.
Yeah. Those are the requirements.
That's
Pretty high bar for Div 12.
That's 2/3
Oh,
of the
buddy.
trifecta. If I was good, I'd be 3 for 3. I could play it somewhere else, but 2 out of 3 showing up and having nice gear is pretty good.
That's awesome, buddy.
Yeah,
You're killing
he's
it.
got guys like me not coming back. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, Dave, we're going to let you go here, buddy. One last thing before we let you go. And you've been an awesome sport, man. We're having a lot of fun at your expense. But Zuby did tell us that you're a great dude. He loves the team that he's playing on and says a bunch of great dudes in that locker room. So thanks for having some fun with us. We would like to, for, well, the rest of time, refer to anybody making a mistake of some sort or kind of, having a bit of a tough go. We would like to adopt the phrase, he pulled a Schweedy. But we can't do that in good conscience without your permission. So are you okay with us adopting that phrase?
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll only use it when a guy is 3 zones away from the puck.
Okay, wait a sec. So, just I wasn't here the other night. So, Schweedy was the guy that was just outside the blue line at the bottom of the screen.
Well,
Is that
do you
what
want to
we're
see it
talking
one
about?
more time, Brownie? Yeah, you want to look at it one
let's
more
see it
time
again
here.
because I've yet to see anything wrong with what he's
So
done.
the white sweater at the blue line.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Well, yeah, but his guy's at center. I think he's in the perfect positioning right there. Look at his guy is right
Yeah,
beside him.
Exactly.
That's good
That's what I was
defense.
thinking.
Exactly, Schweedy. I don't care what these two guys have said. They've never played wing in their lives. You were right where you needed to be.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah,
Schweedy,
I saw that too. But
you've got the
knows?
defensive stamp of approval from Rob Brown. That's going to get you far.
I'll take it.
David, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Thanks,
You're
buddy.
an awesome sport. Thanks for having some fun
Cool,
with us,
guys.
buddy.
Thanks
We
a lot.
shall honor
Thanks a
you
lot.
whenever we have the opportunity. We shall honor you, my friend.
Love it. Thank you.
All right. That is the great number
See you guys.
10, or is it 10 or 18? 10 or 18?
18.
18, yeah.
18. The great number 18, David Schweedy, joining us here on Got Your Back.
Sounds like he's thinking
man.
about maybe moving up a couple tiers, try to get maybe into the single-digit tier.
Yeah, that surprised me.
He probably shouldn't.
I had drank a lot of coffee that day. If I'd have back checked, I would have cramped up.
I love his
I
description.
thought he was in
Awesome.
perfect defensive. I think he was in a good spot the whole time. If someone hits him with a pass, if the dude doesn't pass it up the middle and hits him on the boards, he's gone.
Yeah.
That's all on the D-man.
The next time I'm at Rishaug, get the D-man. We got to talk to that guy about his pizza and find out exactly what kind of pizza. Was it deep dish, thin crust, pepperoni? Like, what was it?
Do you think the D-man will come on, Zuby? Will the D-man join us?
Oh yeah, he's been talking about it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we can for sure expand this into Wanderers Weekly, Wanderers Weekly Digest.
I always found that those are the dads that are in the stands yelling at their kid, you can't go through the middle. You can't go through the middle. And then they go to the beer league hockey game right up the middle.
That's awesome. Okay. The next half of takeaways, I want to get back to the question that I put to everybody. Who wins in a flat-out, rip-snorting, angry scrap? Jason Strudwick or Jerome McGinley? We did get some responses on the stream here, Zuby. I think it looked like it was pretty close. People picking Struds. Some people picking Strudy drops him, says dad. I don't know. It just says dad. Strudy drops him. I'm not sure whose dad that is.
Iggy's dad, I think. That was Iggy's dad.
Iggy's dad. Mick Fosidle says Strudy. Andrew Lamouche says Strudy, no contest. Aginla, no offense, Strudy. That's from Jackie. So a little bit across the board there. Brownie, what do you think, bud? You know these guys well.
I do. I've skated with them this summers. I've watched them train while I've read the paper on a bike, so I know what they're capable of doing. If I'm looking for somebody to score a goal, it's Iggy. If I'm looking for someone to give me a pass within 5 to 6 feet of my stick, I'm picking Iggy. But if I'm picking someone to win the fight, I'm picking Struds to win the fight. I am. I've seen Struddy fight a bunch. I've seen Iggy. Any other hockey related thing, I'm picking Iggy. But it's in a fight. I got my buddy Struds in a fight.
It's close. I know. Do you remember when he fought Sheldon Surrey?
Yes.
He like Sheldon Surrey I think he was tougher than I was. And he Iggy gave him all he could handle. Like Iggy's really smart and he's very, very competitive.
Yeah.
But the one thing I have over him, well, I'm a little bit bigger, but I was in way better shape. Like Iggy was out of shape. No, I'm just kidding.
There's nobody on the planet more qualified to answer this.
Yeah.
Than Jamie McLennan. And it just so happens, Struds, that I might have asked this question on the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast not too long ago. So here, the question posed to Noodles and Darren Drager.
Oh, boy.
Jerome McGinley or Jason Strudwick?
Ooh. Oh, this is such a good question.
It is a great question. They're both lefties, too. They're both lefties. Like Strudy's bigger. Like when Strudy was 235, I don't know. Strudy had 100 fights. Iggy had, I don't know how many he had. I think it's a draw. I know it's a gutless.
That is gutless. Oh my!
Two of my best friends. These are two of my best friends. I have
offside.
It's offside. I will take the dock of I just don't know because I think I've seen them both pissed off. It takes a lot for Strudy to get pissed off, but I've seen it. And he's he's a tough man. And Iggy is just
listen to this guy just waffling Dregs. Noodles, you're not getting paid today. You're not getting paid to sit on fences. Dregs, who are you taking?
I'm taking Iggy, man. I'm taking Iggy. Sorry, Struds. I mean, tough dude. No question about that. I think Iggy would have the inside game. I do.
Yeah, for sure. Struds is an expert in making it look good, though. He throws those quick little left-handed muffins to me. so there, Struds. Noodles wouldn't decide. He's too loyal to both of you.
Yeah. But let's be honest, like Dregs, he wants to stay in Iggy's good books. Like, why would someone want to be in my good books? What do you want to send your nephew to my hockey camp?
Iggy is management now. He is management now, and he needs to keep management.
He has three unreal kids that play hockey, or like what do you? Oh, I don't want to piss off Strudy. I might not be able to get that table at whatever Hart's Table in South Edmonton.
Like, Daniel Bryan says, honestly, Strudy's got this in the bag for fighting. Okay, before we wrap up this very hard-hitting and important segment. I think we need to get to our De Boers Golf Shop and Fitting Center poll. So we got into a bit of a debate a few shows ago about cereal, and we're going to go down that path for the poll from De Boers Golf Shop and Fitting Center, helping you play better golf since 1999 with their TrackMan fitting bays, after-sales support, merchandise, and clothing. Check them out at 5311 99th Street here in Edmonton. Zuby, why don't you explain what you got there, buddy?
Sure. Just, I think we're going to keep it quiet though, as to whose is whose, right? We don't want to, why don't we do that instead of,
right.
Really? Yeah, I think we should.
I agree. I
think it should be the cereal only. I don't think anyone should be able to push their agenda.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We want a popularity contest.
Yeah, not a popularity contest. So the question, there's 4 cereals here, and each one of them is the favorite of someone on this program. And we want to know which of these choices is the best breakfast cereal. And the choices are Frosted Flakes, Captain Crunch Crunch Berries, Lucky Charms, or Mini Wheats. Those are your 4 choices. Of course, it's an endless, what's out there is endless, but we want to know what's your favorite of these 4. And then we'll match them up once we have the results with the, so I'm not going to ask you guys which you choose. That would be too obvious. So
Shane Matheson is needing clarification. Is that the frosted mini wheats or just straight up mini wheats? And I believe the intention was for it to be frosted mini wheats. If we can all nod in agreement so that whoever's it was will not be known. Okay. Yes. We all agree. No. All right. That is our YouTube poll brought to you by our good friends over at De Boers, and we'll get to the Weiss Johnson YouTube mentions as well coming up a little bit later on in the show. All right, time for a break. When we come back, we got Brownie Points, we got Strudy's World, Ask Us Anything, taking a lap as well. Lots more ahead on the show. You're listening to Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. What a segment. Goodness sakes.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at sequelandentistry.com.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
God, I look good.
Now for Strudy's World, brought to you by Timber House. Tired of those dull cookie cutter houses that scream meh from every single angle? Well, at Timber House, they're looking to shake things up. Their designs harness the power of natural light to brighten your days and lift your spirits. Because life's too short for ordinary houses and dull living. Let them build you a place where laughter and good times are a part of the blueprint. Visit timberhouse.ca.
Yeah, get no respect.
Struddy?
So this has been on my mind for a while, and I was at a hockey tournament this week, and I just confirmed my biggest fears and my thoughts. When is enough? When is big enough too big? Or is it when, it's getting out of control? And I'm talking about water bottles, personal water bottles that people carry around. There are people that I can handle the Gatorade side water bottle. Like, that's no problem. You see that guys, well, then they squirt it. But I see, and again, I want to be gender specific here. Mostly ladies carrying around water bottles. They're humongous. One lady, I asked her, did you steal someone's rain barrel? This thing's humongous. I'm here to tell you, if your water bottle is the size that you can jump in it and have a hot tub, it's too big for you. How much water do you need to carry around at a time? Are we in a risk of it going into a drought? If you have a liter, 2 liter one, that's fine. But the size of these water bottles, guys, are getting out of control. And quite frankly, someone has to stop it. It's another racket by these multinational companies that are making these things so big, along with tree lights on Christmas trees that die right away. It's out of time. Someone has to stop it. Too big. We got to get past it, guys. So vote for smaller water bottles. 1 liter, 2 liters. You don't need 4 liter ones walking around like you're some guy at the gym with arms thicker than my head, drinking out of the gallon milk jug.
So, nobody has bigger arms than your head. Nobody.
Yeah. Okay, Brownie, here's the thing. Brownie, you might not be aware of the context here, but Strudy came on last show and did a Strudy's World hating on water bottles. He talked about how devastated he was to be standing there filling 11 of his kids' water bottles. They were just throwing it at him. He just made him realize where he was in his life and his career, that he's having to fill these water bottles for these kids. Now, in a second straight Strudy's World in a row, he's hating on water bottles. This is 2 in a row that he's got this severe hate on for personal hydration.
Downward spiral.
Can a guy go work out and have a little extra water in his bottle? It's funny though, these bottles that you're talking about, all the kids in my academy have them. These little girls have them. They're like, they come up past the girl's knee. They're humongous, these things. They can barely carry them. They're using 2 hands to be able to drink out of it. I find them to be a little silly, the really big ones. Because you know what you can do? You can refill your water bottle.
That's right.
You can. I've yet to see anyone drink the whole thing, but I find it's way too. When I go to the gym, I just take a plastic water bottle and I just refill it every time. I'm not sure it's sanitary or not, but it's easy to carry. But I'm not carrying one of the big ones. They don't fit in any drink holders either. Like when you put a little vodka, when you're somewhere cool and you put a little vodka in it and orange juice, you sit it. You can't do that. You got to do it in something that can fit in your drink holder. So I just don't understand them either. I'm on your side on this one, Jason.
What does Shoni use, Struds? Is she a member of the big water bottle community?
Huge. The biggest thing is she's always forgetting that it falls down and like that metallic clanging it makes. It just annoys me. So I'm not going to lie. I probably shouldn't say this, but sometimes I'll misplace it for her and just put it somewhere she can't find it. Have you seen my water bottle? No, I haven't. I haven't seen it since I hid it somewhere, but don't tell her I'm doing that, by the way. But yeah, the water bottles are out of control. 1 liter, 2 liters, okay, but who out there is drinking these massive things? And how cold does it have to be kept? Why does it have to be like we just got it off of the top of Mount Everest? Like, does it have to be that cold? It's okay if it's not freezing cold every time you drink the water. I don't get it.
So we're getting a few different sort of mixed reactions here on the stream. You made the point that people need to go vote for smaller water bottles. Jared Huntley asking, where do we go vote? Where do we go to vote, Struds? He would like to know that. Paulie says
spending dollars, right? Vote with your spending dollars. That's what you do.
True.
Buy the small bottles, right?
Let people know. Your wallet.
These multinational companies are just running amok right now with these water bottles. We got to push back.
Yeah, the giant hydration conglomerates. Paulie says, Strudy, the oversized water bottles aren't filled with water. We all have an ad like that. First water at 9 a.m. Dr. Carpy says, Strudy taking a common sense approach to hydration in water bottles. So the Dr. Carpy is right there with you.
And he's a doctor, says,
Oh, he is a doc. That's true. He is a doctor. So yeah.
Maybe we'll get together. The other doctors will get together. All of us together.
Brian says part of the reason they're so big is because they're insulated to keep your drink hot or cold, for sure. Yeah, so it's kind of split there. But that was Strudy's World. Brought to you by Timber Hoss Developments. Thanks, Struds. 2 Dynamite Strudy's World in back-to-back shows, buddy. You've been bringing it. With that, let's cheer things up a little, Zuby. Yes, we love that music, right? That is our Hamel's Premium Jerky Brownie Points music. The Alberta-based family-owned business opened in 1962. Their beef jerky's out of this world. Hamel's, of course, sent their sweet and spicy jerky to the space station in 2009. How crazy is that? Black Friday sale is on. $85, 3 pounds of beef jerky, regularly $120. So that's a great savings for you. As always, free shipping Alberta-wide. AlbertaJerky.com is the website. Enter the code GOTYOURBACK, GOTYERBACK. Got your back. Get you an additional 10% off. Brownie?
Well, I'm going to start. I'm going to need some points later on in this little bit of my brownie points. I'm going to take some away early. I'm taking away 100 brownie points from San Francisco 49er Deebo Samuel, who smacked the long snapper and the kicker both in the head after they missed 3 field goals in the game. On the sideline, he went over and smacked them both. Said afterwards it's out of character for him. But I'm thinking all of a sudden Skinner lets in a bad goal and then Connor McDavid just goes down and whacks him across the side of the head. There have been times, Stress, that we've wanted to smack a goalie when he's let in a softie. But you can't do that. Deebo Samuel, you're losing 100 points. I needed them because I'm giving 933 brownie points to the Winnipeg Jets, who are playing right now to a 933 winning percentage. The best start in the history of the National Hockey League. They are 14-1. They deserve a little bit of credit for that. Keeping Winnipeg in our minds, I'm giving 5 brownie points to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They're about to play in their 5th straight Grey Cup. I know nothing really about the CFL, but I do know that if you go to the Grey Cup every year, you've got a pretty good organization. So the Winnipeg Jets going for, I believe it'll be their 3rd championship in 5 years. They get 5 brownie points. I've got 9 big brownie points to Leo Chanel. And you might ask who that is, Jason Strudwick. That is the young man that blocked the game-winning field goal attempt in the Kansas City Chiefs game the other night. He blocked it with no time left. The Chiefs win. We are 9-0 on the season. Go Chiefs, go. Big fan right here. And finally, going back to the Hockey Hall of Fame, I've got 13 brownie points to Pavel Datsyuk, who, if there is a player that you could say you get to watch one player play, you get to watch all his video, all his highlights on Skid Row or Death Row or whatever it is, I'm picking Pavel Datsyuk. To me, he was the most exciting player to watch play. Subtle, incredibly subtle with the plays he made. And nobody had better shootout moves. There's one video that if you can watch, he's in the shootout against the Chicago Blackhawks. He scores. They pan to the Blackhawk bench. And Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane jump like, oh my God, when Pavel Datsyuk scored against him. My favorite player to watch play. Those are my brownie points.
Some gooders in there.
He's your favorite all time? You'd rather watch him than Mario
To watch
Lemieux?
play. Well, I made Mario, so yeah.
I don't know.
If I was to watch 4 players I would watch would be Gretzky, Lemieux, Bobby Orr, and Pavel Datsyuk. And then Patrick Kane would be number 5.
Interesting. Connor McDavid wouldn't be on your list, eh? I mean, David does
Connor
things
McDavid,
like
I
nobody's
see him
ever done
every
them
day.
before.
I've seen him every day.
Wow.
These are these guys
Okay.
from before. These are guys from before. Connor might sneak into my top 10 list.
There you go. By the way, before we let you go, we didn't have you last show, and you mentioned Skinner and teammates smacking one another and such. What did you make of Skinner after that game was over, kind of smashing his stick? He seemed a little upset about that third goal that went in. Didn't look super pumped in the congratulations lineup from his teammates. Brownie, like, obviously he's a competitive guy. That third goal will bug him. What do you think about that?
Kind of takes you back to that game where Connor McDavid took that penalty late in a hockey game that might have cost Skinner a shutout if it would have went in. And we said, hey, goalies might actually think that that's important. And all of a sudden there's a goal scored on a power play late in a hockey game that upset a goalie. And it was just to be the third goal in the game. So or whatever it was. So yeah, they don't want to let goals in. So yeah, I've got no problem with that, being a little upset, being a little pissed off. It means he wants perfection. I think I want that in a goalie.
Hey, Struds,
Wow.
both you and Struds tried to jump into the time machine to go back on that one.
Did you say
to
the
tell
same
me I
thing,
was wrong.
Struds?
The exact same thing. The exact same
Literally,
Word
he
for
said
word.
the exact same thing. I still submit to you, I'm fine with Connor McDavid taking that penalty.
No.
But yeah,
No.
we'll agree to disagree. All right, Brownie, we'll let you go, buddy. It was great to see your face, and we'll chat with you after the Islanders game, pal.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
Hey, buddy.
All right. That was the great Rob Brown. Zuby, why don't you grab our In the System, and we will go to break with our In the System report. Ask us anything. Actually, Taking a Lap is coming up next. But as we go to break here, we'll go to our Long Shots In the System report. Their premium indoor golf facility is equipped with state-of-the-art TrackMan technology, perfect for golfers of all levels. Whether you're looking to eat, drink, or play, just watch the game. Long Shot Sports Bar atmosphere and fully licensed kitchen and bar will not disappoint. Check them out in Sherwood Park. Longshots.ca. That's longshots with a Z.ca. Here is our young prospect, Ryan Reed, with a look in the system.
After 12 games, the Bakersfield Condors are currently 4th place in the Pacific Division with a 5-4-3 record. The Condors boast the 3rd best penalty kill in the AHL at 90.7% after going 7 for 8 on the PK over both games this past weekend. Seth Griffith leads the team with 9 points in 11 games, including an assist in Sunday's loss to the Abbotsford Canucks. Matthew Savoy also recorded a goal and an assist in that game and is now 2nd on the team in points with 8, including 4 goals. Drake Kajula picked up right where he left off after being reassigned to the Condors and scored a goal on Sunday to put him at 4 goals and 7 points for his abbreviated 9-game campaign. Olivier Rodrigue won his 3rd straight start on Saturday and now has stopped 97 of his last 101 shots for a .960 save percentage. He is 14th in the AHL overall with a .929 save percentage and tied for 9th with 4 wins. Roby Yarventi has 2 assists in 2 games of action for the Condors. Next up for the Condors are the San Diego Gulls on November 16th. Elsewhere, in the OHL, 2024 first-round pick Sam O'Reilly has 4 goals and 12 points in 15 games with the London Knights, while 2024 7th-round pick and teammate William Nicol has tallied 19 points in 17 games. Bo Akey has 9 points in 13 games for the Barrie Colts, while 2024 6th-rounder and fellow Colt Dallin Wakely has tallied 10 points with 5 goals in 8 games, including a goal in the Colts' 8-run rout Saturday. Lastly, 2019 6th-round pick Tommy Mazura is tied for 18th in NCAA Division I scoring this season with 11 points through 9 games for St. Lawrence University. I am Ryan Reed, and that is what's happening in this system.
At HSE Core, we are dedicated to providing unparalleled safety compliance services to small and medium-sized businesses through our monthly health and safety program management, including managing contractor screening registries and core auditing services. Let HSE Core Services help you maintain a safe workplace for you and your valued employees. Visit us at hsecore.com.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
All right, time now for us to take a couple of laps, brought to you by Aecon. With over 150 years in the construction industry, Aecon has spearheaded some of the most notable projects across the country. They're one of Canada's original leaders in heavy industrial contracting, operating across North America and proudly here in Edmonton. And by the way, if you're looking for a great company to work for, check out aecon.com and click Join Our Team. They're always looking for qualified staff, and it is a fantastic company to work for. So that's aecon.com and click Join Our Team. Struds, where are we going to go tonight, bud?
Yeah, we're going to talk about 3 injured players. So Austin Matthews today was, there was a bit of an update given by Brad Treliving, general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Austin hasn't played the last 3 games. He did skate Saturday. He didn't skate today with the team. And Treliving said he's not planning on, he won't be planning tomorrow, Tuesday night when the Leafs go. So upper body injury, doesn't sound like it's super serious. Maybe dealing since training camp, but they're going to keep him out till it's right.
Yeah, of course, the Oilers have the Leafs coming up here on the weekend. Don't know if he'll end up being out that long. Saw they also put Matt Benning on waivers, maybe getting Hakanpää back here at some point too. So a little bit of movement there with the Leafs.
Then we'll go to Calgary. Anthony Mantha, good start with Calgary, right? He had a good start going on. Injured his knee, needs some help to repair an MCL. He's out for the season. So this hurts him in twofold. One, he was playing pretty well, right? He had quite a few points, seemed to be playing and have some chemistry with Huberdeau. And then he was only in a 1-year deal, so they could have signed him or could have moved him for more assets. We know they're in a bit of a rebuild on the fly, whatever you want to call it. So, and then thirdly, I guess you still want to see a player miss a whole season. So Mantha out for the year.
So 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points in 13 games. The thing that just amazed me about Mantha, like he's one of those big skilled guys, right? He's 6'5", 235 pounds, Struds. He's one of those guys that, you know, back in the day when he was younger and he was on his game, he looked like he was just going to be something. And he kind of never, I don't think ever really reached that potential. And, you know, kind of sputtering his way through, right? He's been dealing with injuries through different parts of his career as well. Ended up with 20 goals a couple seasons ago with the Washington Capitals, but felt like he had a good thing going with Calgary here. That's disappointing for him.
Yeah, it's got to be hard. You know, I think he's 30, Rishaug, I think off the top of my head. So he's a guy that, I remember when Vegas traded from last year, I was connecting with a guy there and they're like, oh, this guy, we're going to make him into a player. I'm like, I just don't think he's Vegas type of player. Doesn't have the biggest or highest run rate, right? And big guys don't always look like they're playing really hard because they're so big, but that's not his thing. That's not his game. He's skilled, as you mentioned. So they're gonna have to do without him. So hard for the player, hard for the team. You know, I wonder if the walls aren't closing a little bit on the Flames here, although they see how they did tonight in the game. And then lastly, another injury, Tage Thompson, a big sniper leading their team in Buffalo is scoring. Kind of a weird situation. They were playing the Canadiens. They did win 7-5, but there was a bit of I went back and watched it. Like he kind of got knocked along the wall. They think that's when it happened. I think he finished the rest of that shift, and I don't think he came back after that. And so Lindy Ruff, coach of the Sabres, can say what it was, but I mean, they're trying to get any traction this year, trying to, you know, play meaningful games, quote unquote. And if he's out for any length of time, I mean, that's just going to make it harder. Obviously, your leading scorer, number one big guy.
38 goals a couple years ago. Then he followed that up with 47 the following season, dropped back to 29 last year, and was at 11 in the first 16 games of this season. So had some of those some of that goal scoring mojo going again. So definitely a tough loss for the Buffalo Sabres. That was Taking a Lap, brought to you by our friends over at Acon. Okay, what do we want to do now? Actually, let's get to a scoreboard, Struds, because I think we want to update. You just mentioned the Calgary Flames a little bit there. So we'll get to our scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club in honor of the founding year of the CC Distillery, 1858. The all-new Canadian Club Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58% for you whiskey connoisseurs out there. The highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date. It is a full-bodied whiskey, aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and a rich oak with a butterscotch finish that is so smooth. So, Struds, let's dig in on the scoreboard tonight.
Yeah, let's start then with the game that you just mentioned, the Flames and the Kings. The Flames get it done. Jonathan Huberdeau, 6 goals this year. I mean, this guy, there might be something there, right? He might be digging himself out of
might be a player there, hey?
Yeah. Finding his way in Calgary, then back on 2 points, a goal and assist. So the Flames get 2 points closer to the Kings, who are obviously I think they're on top in the Pacific Division. Stars, as I mentioned, pounded the Penguins 7-1. That was just a Maurice Marchand with 5 points in that one. Another one, I think
Tristan, they got 3 goalies, by the way, Struds. The Penguins have 3 goalies right now. Yeah. Tristan Jarry's back with the team, still not even dressing. And they pulled their tender in the first period tonight. They got goaltending issues.
Yeah, there's a lot going on over there. A lot going on over that team. And when you have 3 goalies, that means you probably have too many that aren't doing their job. So they've got a problem there. And then an interesting one, the Preds trying to get themselves, going. We remember the comments from their general manager last week, but they lose 3-2 to a shootout. In overtime to the Avalanche, who are trying to get some healthy bodies back. Still waiting on. I think Nichushkin starts skating in the middle of the month. So with the team, so I don't know when that means he'll be playing. We haven't seen any updates from Jared Bednar on that one. But Mikko Rantanen gets his 9th goal of the year this year. And then Sammy Girard gets it in overtime, the little wizard, on the back end. So those are the ones that are kind of probably at the forefront of Oilers fans' mind tonight.
4-0 Hurricanes 2 leading the Golden Knights. That one's in the third period. So the Canes looking like they're in good shape here to grab a couple of points from the Golden Knights, which is good for the Oilers. A barn burner 7-5 Habs over the Buffalo Sabres, as you talked about as well. And then, by the way, we should mention Michkov. He's played tonight the Flyers against the San Jose Sharks, Struds. The reason I want to mention that, we talked about Torts benching him. So he benched him back-to-back games. He comes back into the lineup tonight against a fairly, not the hardest team in the world to come back against in San Jose. Goal and assist, and scored a goal in the shootout as well. So good for the young rookie.
Torts was right. I told you guys.
Was he? Was he right? Well, 2 straight games in the press box?
Well, I mean, I do. Listen, I will say this, and I think that going from a non-HL schedule to an NHL schedule is really hard. It is tiring. So I think giving rest makes sense. We saw it with Anaheim and Leo Carlsson. They gave him kind of schedules nights off, even though he didn't want to. I get it, but I do think it is tiring. It does make sense because you can stretch out their first year, get them accustomed to the schedule better. So I think it does make sense. I do agree with it.
All right, that was our scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. Time now to get everybody involved in the show in our Ask Us Anything segment. Zuby has been compiling some of the comments that you've been sending in. Great audience on the live stream tonight. We thank you for your participation. It's brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. Founded in 1976, BJ Electric Supplies is a full-line distributor providing quality wholesale electrical products for use in industrial, commercial, residential settings as well. Proudly owned and operated in Edmonton. Visit bjelectric.ca. As Zuby hops back in. You want to take care of the poll right away, Zuby? I feel like we don't want to forget about this poll. So why don't we just deal with this one right away? Where did we land?
We don't. And people want the reveal too. They're looking forward to the reveal as well.
Okay.
So here, let me change to, nope, not that. This one. There we go. We'll get DeBoer's up there for the NAS.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So, the question was, which of these breakfast cereals, which of these choices is the best breakfast cereal? And Frosted Mini Wheats winning narrowly, 37% of the vote. Frosted Flakes coming in second at 33%. Lucky Charms coming in at 15% of the vote. And Captain Crunch Crunch Berries, 13%. I think Crunch Berries might just be too obscure. I'm aware of it, but I've never tried it.
Brownie sent that into the chat group. I Googled it. I'm like, I've never even seen this before. So that was all Rob Brown, Struds.
Yeah, it's got unique taste. Well, mine was the Frosted Mini Wheats or Mini Wheats. I mean, I don't care if they're brown or white. They're both good. Such a good. I've been eating that for 1,000 years, I think. What about you? What were your guys's?
So I went with the Frosted Flakes. That's one of those cereals that anytime it's in my cupboard, I just think about it. I think about it when I'm not even at home. I think about the fact that there's Frosted Flakes in my cupboard. I'm thinking about it right now. I'm probably going to end up having a bowl tonight now before bed because when I know it's there, I have to eat it. There's something about the texture and the sweetness, the way it all comes together. I can't get it out of my head. So by a mile for me, it's Frosted Flakes.
And I didn't actually have one because I'm not a huge cereal guy. Lucky Charms was Steve's. He got in on the chat. Just Steve came up with Lucky Charms. And I shouldn't say I don't eat cereal, but nothing I have is very exciting. I probably would have said Vector. And I think Davin had a write-in vote for Vector. And I also used to like, as a snack, a non-milky snack, I used to like honeycombs back in the day. But I'm just not a huge cereal guy. So we let Steve come in with his Lucky Charms.
Yeah. The other one that is in the cupboard right now that I'm thinking about, by the way, Dave Morley chimes in and says, Shogger thinking about food. Who knew? I feel like that's fat shaming, Dave Morley. I feel like that was unkind, Dave Morley. We have Cinnamon Toast Crunch right now in the cupboard, and I'm having a hard time not thinking about that.
My kids are all on that one, and I'd never had it before in my life because we wouldn't have really been able to be allowed, I think, to have it as kids. And it's a pretty good snack too. I do like this.
The milk at the end of it is just a payoff. The milk at the end of it, just such a payoff. Okay, anything meaningful or just a bunch of gobbledygook tonight there, Zuby? What do we got?
Oh, no. We have some interesting stuff. Well, Ro Nelson, she's very opinioneed. And she just with a statement that I thought maybe you guys would like to discuss. Okay. She says this mature team has yet to mature. Do you feel like that's what we're seeing so far this year?
This season, I'm assuming that she means this season. They have not matured this season. I don't know. Is it a maturity issue, Struds, or is it just kind of?
I
think it's emotional.
It's a really good statement. I love that she dropped it in here at the end, and I do like it. So. I think that for a number of years, yes, it was maturity. And I think last year they got to really understood this is how we have to play all over the ice. These are the choices you have to make with and without the puck and all that stuff. We've talked about quite a bit. This, I don't think, is about maturing. This is about connecting to a season after a huge, huge run last year. And it is a hard thing to do. I really think it is a hard thing to do. So for years, I was all about maturing, and now I'm about them getting on board with playing that way every night. Because the problem is, how hard it is. Right? You know how hard it's like if you hurt your knee or something, you shovel your driveway, then it snows again the next day. You're like, do I really want to go out there and do it? I know how hard it is. I got to go do it again, and that's where these guys are at. So I would disagree with you respectfully for this season. Previous years, 100%.
All right. Zulu saying need to improve play at home for the Oil. Obviously, their record at home is not very good. What can be done? What's missing on home ice that they can try to harness?
2-5-1, by the way, guys, is their record on home ice, Struds. You got to own your home rink to be an elite team.
Yeah, you know what? But is it a thing where they only show up on the road? Like I think their game is just inconsistent right now. Like they didn't lose their first 3 games at home. Wasn't that the first 2 games of the season at home? Did I dream that?
They started 4. They were 4 in a row.
Jets and Hawks, right?
Yeah,
Jets and Hawks.
So listen, I I don't. So I think it's just an inconsistent play from the team. But I think they after this week it could be a lot better situation. Obviously, nearly 500 at home. But I don't know. I'm not. I don't think this is a home away thing right now. I think this is just happened to go that way because they're inconsistent early.
By the way, I want to remind you that all these comments on our live stream are coming in on our Weiss Johnson YouTube mentions. From now until November 22nd, get 20% off all garage heater installs to help make your life more comfortable from a warm car or a toasty man cave. Contact Weiss-Johnson today to get in on this deal. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson, whoa. We're proud to be local and family owned.
Letting it roll like the
Yeah, let it go. We're a little deeper into the show here. Let it go for a second.
It's got a second verse.
Is there a second verse?
Yeah.
We're going to have Dennis Johnson on one of these nights. Huge Oiler fan and a great sponsor here on the pod. I want to know the origins of the Weiss Johnson jingle. I want to know who thought of it. I want to know how long it's been around. I want to know who wrote it. We need more information on this iconic sound on our show.
If we can do 6 minutes on Schweedy, I'm sure we can have a quick chat with Dennis about the jingle that's become such a big
By the
part.
way, Ronnie Oceanfront making his appearance. Is there a more trusted company than Weiss Johnson? I doubt it, says Ronnie Oceanfront. Welcome back to the show, Ronnie.
Okay, back to some business here. The Dr. Carpy says Oilers need to go by 10-game stretches, 7 and 3s or 8 and 2s, limit the sub-500s, and they should be fine. When Knobloch first came on last year, I think he talked about 9. They broke the season into 8 or 9 game stretches based on the number that was remaining. Is there any talk of that this year, Schauger?
Yeah, he said, I can't remember if he said they were going to go in 10 or 8. It might have been 8 game segments. I can't remember. He said one, and now I can't remember. But they are applying that same strategy where they go in those segments. You just try and win the segment so that you're able to not linger, hey, Struds? Like not linger in any long-term effects. Yeah. Always focused on the current segment. It's a good philosophy, I think.
I think it's too long of segments. I like the 5-game segments. This is why, or 6. Because if things aren't going well, you can restart, right? Think about their PK. I mean, it's pretty hard to restart when you're, 6 games in and you've given up one every game and your percentage is whatever in that segment. When it's 5 or 6, you can dump it down a little quicker. So I would suggest 5 or 6 game segments would be better.
Ro Nelson saying you should have a live Weiss Johnson jingle. That would be something, Subi, to bring a band in behind me to play
oh my goodness.
the Weiss Johnson jingle once and then turn around and go home. Ronnie Oceanfront chiming back in, by the way. He says, yeah, I showed up right when you guys were talking about cereal and almost just went to bed. So thanks for sticking with us, Ronnie Oceanfront.
Okay, we got a couple here. I petitioned for a few more questions, and I got some that are very Struddy specific. So Ace96 Struds wants to know, who was your favorite player to fight? Or maybe you could tell us, did you ever have a multiple? Did you ever have a best of 3 or best of 5 with somebody?
I think I fought Ryan Vandenbush quite a few times, and we had good fights. And I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy that wants to go out and let's put on a good show. Like, I'm trying to beat the guy up. Like, I don't really care about putting a good show on, right? I wasn't doing it to try to get a belt.
Sell tickets.
Yeah, like that just wasn't, I wasn't that guy. And I have no problem with guys that want to do that. That wasn't my thing. But yeah, that was a guy that we had quite a few fights. And I'd say we were pretty even over the course of it.
When we were talking about when Brownie was giving his list of his favorite players to watch, a lot of people started chiming in about Ales Hemsky, and Andrew Lemouche says, ask Struds if he ever got dazzled by Hemmer in practice and then had to refill his water bottle for him.
No, you know what? I don't remember Hemmer beating me. I don't remember him trying that hard in practice. Like, I think that there's other guys that would have been more likely to beat me, wide. I remember Hall and Everly skating circles around me. But yeah, I like my first, and this guy should be in the Hall of Fame, but my first practice ever with the Vancouver Canucks, we're doing a 1-on-1 drill in a morning skate. And my first guy I go against is McGillney. He absolutely dangles me and scores. Second guy, Pavel Bure, just skates right by me like I'm standing still. And the coach looks over, he's like, don't worry, you don't have to play against those guys. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting traded tonight. Like, I was so bad. But they kept me for a little longer than that. But those two guys, like, talk about your first two one-on-ones with a new team. What a nightmare.
No kidding.
Okay, let's get back to a little bit of business here. Mike P says, how does Kane's return affect any trade activity? Lots of talk of adding a blue liner, but what can we afford? And when does Kane coming back affect that? And now there's been talk about that in the new year, is kind of, I think, what was put out there in the world. How accurate is that, and how does that affect what they might do?
Yeah. So we haven't had any updates on how Kane is doing in his recovery. The expectation is it's kind of well after Christmas. We'll see if the team chooses to give an update or not, maybe in the new year, just sort of give everyone a sense of exactly where he's at. On the blue liner, like everyone will notice, the Oilers are going with the exact same lineup every night. That's because they're only carrying that many skaters. They have one extra defenseman, and that is it. The reason they're doing that is because that's got them below the cap. And so every day that goes by where they're below the cap, they're accruing cap space to bring in help at the trade deadline. They can't go and get that expensive defenseman until they build up that cap space over time. So that's kind of what they're doing, right? They're accruing cap space, biding their time, hoping to make it work in the meantime until they have enough cap space to go out and make a meaningful trade. So Kane, it doesn't really affect things. They started the season with him on the roster. He doesn't really affect the cap situation. They can bring him back anytime and fit him in just fine. So Struds, there was a risk here in doing it this way, but the payoff is they don't have to worry about Evander Kane coming back. They can drop him right in.
Yeah. There's no doubt that I think that he's an important piece. I think when he comes in and he sees a very short runway, I think he could be shot out of a cannon. Now, obviously, he's got to work his way back into playing shape and all that stuff. Pretty significant work he's got to put in to get to that level, and I have no reason to think he wouldn't. As far as the back end, yeah, I mean, they seem to have something going on right now with Kulak sometimes playing on the right side, or Nurse sometimes playing on the right side. Then they mix in it to two guys on the bottom, or the other two guys, whoever they happen to be, the 5 and 6, who are actually maybe 4s and 6. So they may have figured something out, but I do think that things are going to get easier for the back end, because I expect the offense to get going a little bit more like we saw the other night. And that obviously eases pressure on the D and the goalies.
Okay, last one here. Then we got a couple of fun comments, but this last actual one here. Paulie says, turning the corner a little bit, but no one's turning the actual corner until the PK is fixed. Do you agree with that? Do you see that as the last big obstacle, or the last big thing this team needs to change before we can say they're back?
Well, yeah, I think there's other things, like I just touched on the forwards, some guys getting going offensively. But the penalty kill, you can't start every game -1, and they have been, and they are. So I think that is a really important thing, detail to figure out. Looked like the power play was more aggressive, more dangerous last game. I really look forward to seeing what that sees. Both of them look like tomorrow night.
So heading into action tonight, the penalty kill was 32nd in the league at 59%. I mean, that's just gobsmacking when you think about where they were late in the season last year and how much of a turnaround it was. And their power play, 26th place as of right now. If those two things even get back to average, like, they're brutal right now, brutal. If they can just get average special teams, that's a significant swing for them, no question. Is that it, Zuby, or you got a couple more comments?
I got just a couple, but this just came in, so I have to bring this up. Coco Lynn saying, I remember Strudy telling a story once about having chocolate shakes after games he was scratched.
No, I did. I did, but also because you had to weigh in every day or almost every day. And if I found like I was 217 instead of 221, 222, on the way home from Rexall, I'd just stop at McDonald's and get a large chocolate shake and eat and have that on the way home. And then sometimes when I didn't play, especially my last year, I still ate really well, but like, what are you going to do? I played 44 games that year. That's a lot of bag skates, man. I could pretty much eat whatever I wanted.
And did you know it was your last year?
Yeah. When I was sitting out that much, I'm like, I don't think there'll be a lineup of teams. Hey, we got to get this guy to play 44 games and only really 5 good ones.
Did you consider Europe at all, Struds?
I did. Well, the next year I went to Europe. The next year, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Forgive me. Yeah, you went over there.
and you always kind of hope. And like after that year, I actually had who was at Nashville call and said, "Do you want to be a player coach in the minors?" And I didn't. I just had my kids. I wanted to be with them all the time. Right? I didn't want to be away. So I was very thankful of the opportunity. But I was like, that's just not. It doesn't fit with what I want to do with my kids.
Okay,
last
instead
comment. You worked the midnight shift at TSN 1260. The midnight shift at TSN 1260.
Everyone was asleep, right? And then I'd leave, everyone's asleep. Then I'd start talking on that show and everyone would go to sleep as well. So I was like a Sandman.
That's a great nickname. Sandman Jason Strudwick. That's got that's got meanings all over the place. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay, last comment tonight from Starting Over at 61, and he weighs in on the water bottle thing. He says, I have a Thermos brand water bottle that keeps hot things hot and cold things cold. Right now I have hot chocolate and a popsicle in it. that just really made me laugh. If you could, I'd buy a huge one of those if it actually did both at the same time. Very funny, I thought. Good comment.
Hey, man.
Our friend Starting Over at 61.
When you're living in the motorhome, you got to save space, right? So you got to just take it all with you. Everything all in one. All right, that was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. Thanks, everybody, for chiming in. We always love our live audience here on Got Your Back. Time for our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental. Take the first step towards a stress-free dental experience. They're providing modern dentistry for today's patient with the most up-to-date sedation, implants, dentistry techniques, so much more. Contact GalleryDentalYEG.com. Struds, what are we doing, bud?
Well, I think we got to recognize the people going into a Hall of Fame. Like that is the highest accomplishment individually you can do. And those people were amazing. It's funny though, as I look at that group, like David Poile, and I'm not as familiar with the ladies as I am the guys, but like David Poile, Pavel Datsyuk, Weber, pretty quiet guys. And then you got JR style. Like, it's like, let's just go really quiet and mute it because JR is just the loudest guy. So we got to give that guy room to breathe. So yeah, I think that it's kind of, at least with the males, I'm not familiar with the females. I've never met them, but I think that the males, you look at the four other guys, they're very quiet. And then you got old JR style 2-7, very, very outspoken. So interesting choice to bench him up with those quiet guys in this year's.
Yeah, and they had him go last in the speeches too. So he crushed it right at the end and had everybody laughing pretty good, man. Starting over at 61 says, great show, guys. Now that I have actual cable hooked up, I'll work on getting out of the pool in time to be more involved in the chat. We look forward to that and hearing more from you. Starting over at 61. Also, honorable mention here, as far as the Hockey Hall of Fame goes, Scotty Burnside, longtime writer, good friend of mine and a good friend of the podcast here, goes in, receives the Elmer Ferguson Memorial Award, as well as Pierre Houd, who, of course, called games for years en français of the Montreal Canadiens. So he receives the Foster Hewitt Memorial Award for outstanding contributions as a hockey broadcaster. So tip of the cap to our media friends on their induction as well. Struds, good job tonight, buddy. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Talk to you guys tomorrow.
All right, try and stay awake through that Islanders game, hey, bud.
Love it. I love it.
Zuby, great job, buddy. Getting Schweedy on, that was an all-timer, man. That was an all-timer, got your back Hall of Fame moment.
That was a great get. We were just lucky he was available with his other media commitments.
I know. Heavily in demand. Thanks to all of you for joining us on the live stream. Thanks for your downloads and your support, your subscriptions on the YouTube channel, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you consume us. Pay attention to us. We really do appreciate it. Islanders in town tomorrow night, Tuesday night. We'll drop a podcast afterwards. We'll talk to you then. Thanks as always to our title sponsor, Play Alberta.